17 campaigns, pilot. I have never once needed a man at my back. Don't make tonight the exception.
The crystal spires of Thespane's citadel had stood for 11 centuries, humming with the light of the Veyrath crystals, stones said to hold the memory of every soul who had ever died defending them. Tonight, that light was cracking. Commander Saren Kothal stood at the heart of the citadel's grand hall, violet horns catching the flicker of dying torches, her silver and crimson armor scorched at the shoulder. 17 campaigns. 17 times she had walked into fire alone and walked out victorious, her name spoken like a warning across 3 star systems. She had never once called for aid. She had never needed to. Tonight was different. Above her, through the shattered dome of the observatory, the battle in orbit painted the sky in burning streaks, corvettes trading fire, debris falling like meteors toward the planet below. The raiders led by Garath Skane had breached the outer wall an hour ago, and now his warband, hulking, armored, tusked warriors bred for siege, advanced through the fractured crystal corridor toward her. She had faced worse odds. She told herself that twice before she believed it. Because tonight, she was not alone in the hall, and that was the problem. 2 small reptilian children, twins, barely 8 summers old, their scaled skin a dusty green, their eyes wide with terror, clung to a man who was not supposed to be here at all. His name was Corvin Ash, a stranded freighter pilot whose escape pod had crashed through the Citadel's outer glass only hours earlier, fleeing the very same orbital battle now lighting up the heavens. He had found the children, Tobin and Mira, orphaned when the crystal mines collapsed under raider fire, hiding beneath a shattered pillar, and something in him, some old instinct he didn't examine too closely, had refused to leave them. Now he stood between the children and the doorway, arms spread, a length of broken support strut gripped like a weapon he barely knew how to use. "You should not be standing there," Saren said, not looking at him, her eyes fixed on the corridor. "They didn't ask to be in a war," Corvin said. "Neither did I the first time." Her voice was flat, but something in it cracked, just slightly, like the crystal pillars around them. "Get them behind the archway. When the doors breach, I will hold the line. Alone. I have done this 17 times. Not with children in the room." She turned then, and for the first time in longer than she could remember, Commander Saren Kothal hesitated. Because he was right. Every campaign before this one, she had fought for stone and steel and starlight, things that could be rebuilt. Tonight she fought for 2 small lives that could not. The doors exploded inward. Garath Skane came through first, easily 7 feet of scarred muscle and iron, his warband pouring in behind him, a dozen raiders armed with jagged blades, moving with the terrible discipline of men who had done this 100 times before. 2 of Saren's own knights, Ser Dowrick Voss and Ser Aloan Bray, fell into position at the flanks, shields raised, but the numbers were wrong, badly wrong. "Kothal," Garath rumbled, his tusks catching torchlight. 17 campaigns, and tonight you die defending lizard whelps and a broken pilot. "Come find out," she said, and drew her twin crystal-forged blades. The battle that followed was chaos given shape. Saren moved like something poured from liquid light, cutting through the first wave, her blades drinking the glow of the dying crystals around her. Ser Dowrick and Ser Aloan held the flank, shields locking, spears driving raiders back toward the shattered windows. But Garath's warband was too many, and slowly, inevitably, the line began to bend. It was Corvin who broke first, not in fear, but in motion. As a raider slipped past Saren's guard, angling straight for the archway where Tobin and Mira crouched, Corvin swung the strut with everything he had, catching the warrior across the helm, buying 1 precious second. It was not skill. It was desperation. But it worked. Saren saw it. Something in her chest, something she had bricked over campaign after campaign, cracked further. "With me," she shouted, and for the first time in 17 campaigns, those words were not a command. They were a request. Corvin didn't hesitate. He fell in at her back, guarding the angles she couldn't cover, and together, a trained warrior and an untrained pilot who refused to run, they held the archway. Ser Dowrick drove Garatha's flank wide. Sarah Lowen collapsed the ceiling strut above the corridor, burying 3 raiders under falling crystal. And Saren, with Corvin's strut cracking against her enemy's ribs at the exact moment her blade found his throat, finally brought Garath Skane to his knees. The warband broke. What remained of it fled back through the shattered wall, out into the smoke and falling starlight, and the citadel, cracked, burning, but standing, fell into a ringing, exhausted silence. Saren stood over the fallen raider chief, breathing hard, blood on her blades, and turned to find Corvin already kneeling beside the children, checking them for wounds with hands that shook more now than they had during the fight. "They're safe," he said. That's what matters." Saren looked at the 3 of them, the exhausted pilot and the 2 frightened children he had refused to abandon, and felt something unfamiliar settle in her chest. Not victory. Not relief. Gratitude. 17 campaigns, she said quietly, sheathing her blades, and I have never once needed help to win. Corvin looked up at her, exhausted, bruised, alive. 18's a good time to start. For the first time since the war began, Saren Kothal allowed herself something close to a smile. By dawn, the Veyrath crystals still hummed, cracked but unbroken, and the citadel's banners rose again over the ruined hall. Tobin and Mira slept in the safety of the inner chambers, watched over by Sarah Lowen. And on the shattered steps outside, Saren Kothal stood beside a stranded pilot who had never fought a real battle before that night, and somehow, without needing to say it aloud, both of them understood that neither of them would be fighting alone again.